Thanks, Sandra.
I want to open this up to the folks on the table here. Todd, you watched the Prime Minister's words saying that we need to do everything possible to keep our people safe. They're shocked and they're sickened by the brutal murder of an American journalist, James Foley. What did you take away from this, as we do see, by the way, the markets reacting to this? The Dow Jones Industrial Average had been higher prior to David Cameron speaking, has turned negative. It's down 32 points, not a huge sell-off, but still there is a negative sentiment in the U.S. stock market.
Sandra, you hit the nail on the head regarding the markets. I mean, this was not a 4 o'clock type of Washington, D.C. speech. He gave this speech, he gave the thread in the middle of the trading day. It's taking place there, obviously, in the middle of the trading day here. So, yes, there is a
compared to the president's words he made after the closing bell yesterday. I want to bring in James Liu. You're an important guy to have here right now as we do watch U.S. market reaction to this. You are J.P. Morgan Asset Management Global Market Strategist. This is your job to assess the threat that is happening over there. As you've been sitting here watching this story unfold, how will this play out in your strategy for your customers?
So your former guest said that the British aren't likely to spook very easily. My hope is that investors are even less likely to be spooked by this. I understand that geopolitical risk is very serious, and there are many big implications that could come out of this. But you have a divergence right now between the seriousness of this geopolitical risk and the strength of the underlying U.S. economy. And in fact, you've seen the markets handle these events very resiliently.
And that surprised so many people how resilient the markets have been.
It's surprising only to the extent that the market only focuses on geopolitical risk. But you have earnings growth in the U.S., you have GDP growth. And so I do take the geopolitical risk very seriously, but to the extent that there's instability, but it's contained instability, and to the extent that Europe is also recovering at this point, hopefully that overwhelms some of the risk we see.
Mike, I want to point out European markets. We were all watching as the threat level was raised in the UK. The FTSE, the London Stock Trading Index, had been higher. It has since turned negative. And as you can see, the CAC and the DAX over in Germany, the biggest loser there. European markets weak on this news.
Yeah, they're a little weaker. And I agree that the markets are only going to have a mild reaction to these developments. We've been through these type of events before. I mean, I think the longer-term concern is what we really should be worried about, because it feels like we're seeing history repeat itself. If you go back to the late 90s, I believe it was 1998 when the U.S. coal was bombed, and we sent cruise missiles into Sudan, and then Osama bin Laden moved al-Qaeda over to Afghanistan. And the last thing you want to see is these terrorists have a nation where they can hide and build their strength from. And considering we've spent 80% of the last decade with U.S. forces in Iraq, providing stability, the fact that they're so strong now and they've become such a force militarily and financially should be a real concern longer term for us.
All right, I want to bring in Rich Edson.